Hey guys, a very special evening to you all. And today I have something really exciting to show. And to me, he is the most enigmatic character that the comic world has ever thrown at us. The one who has lot of histories, the one who comes back to life, and every time he comes back in a different avatar. I think his enigma is his charisma, in a way, if I have to put it. The man of many faces. Of course, I'm talking about none other than the Joker himself. I'm a big fan, and I really do pick up any books when they have a Joker cover in them. This is one of my most favorite covers, which I'm showing it to you right now. It's from the Legends of the Dark Knight number 50, one of my most prized possessions. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about this or any of the other books. I'm just here to summarize and talk to you about this one, which I recently got. It's called Batman, Lovers and Madmen by Michael Green, Dennis Cowan and John Floyd, right? With the beautiful Joker cover art. I simply couldn't put this book down after I started reading. It was so captivating because I was reading another comic in parallel, and then I stumbled on this, and then I thought I'll just start reading it, but then there was no end. It was so extremely good. So anybody who wants to pick it up, no doubts, this is a brilliant another one of Joker's origin story, really well told. So it starts with chapter 1 called It's Funny, right? And that's him right there, and a beautiful picture of a Batman on top of the water tank here, thinking that he's put all the, and this is some time back, by the way. This goes back, I think you can place this timeline right around after year 1, when Batman has year 1, Long Halloween, I mean that kind of timeline when it's mostly the criminal and mob bosses that Batman has to deal with, and he has dealt with most of them, so he is actually at peace, thinking that Gotham is finally coming under his control, and thinking that he could now dictate terms to this city. And the funny part is how very wrong he can be. So it just starts off like another random Batman story with the mob bosses and so on and so forth, and then he stumbles upon the lady here, and I think her name is Laura. I haven't seen her before in any of the other Batman books, so this is the first they obviously get into a relationship, which is detailed out in the story. But then a new case comes out, and that is of a killer who has killed, but seemingly without any intentions, which immediately intimidates Batman, right? There was a killing, but there's no robbery. It looked like the only reason for killing was so random, and that's when we start getting introduced to this character. This barmaid then asks him his name. Interestingly, he tells it is Jack. So I don't know if you know the stories, but Joker's the most used name for Joker is Jack Napier, which is like a origin for him. He appeared in Batman number 1 in the 1940s. Of course, he was created by Bob Kane. Bill Finger is the person who actually came out with the character, which then was signed off by Bob Kane. And there was, I think, Jack Nicholson. There was one more guy who was actually a part of that. There was a trio who created Joker. He initially started as a sociopath killer, but then later on became a kind of like a ridiculed character in Batman stories, used more for fun than actual villain. But then everything again changed with the Killing Joke, which is right here, right? That changed the tables again for the Joker, and he again became the sinister villain he was. So chapter 2 is Peace in Arms. Beautiful covers here, as you could see. I love the way these are not a perfect looking artwork that you see in the modern books. which is mostly done digitally. This is still sketched and then the colors are filled in, which for me is brilliant, and that's the way comics should be, to make it more relatable. So basically, this guy here, he's kind of given up on everything, right? And he just wanted to, like, he was so bored of everything, right? So even just to make things more interesting, he goes for a robbery and he himself sets off the alarms to invite police so that he could have more of fun. And even that becomes boring to him, and finally decides that just shoot me, right? Get it done with. And this moment, which is basically is supposed to be his last, because life doesn't seem to interest him anymore, is when he finally meet the bat. And from there, he calls it like he looks ridiculous, right? But obviously he finally has found a mate to play with, and that's when the story turns on its head. So that's why in many following stories they call that Batman was the reason for Joker to be born, and it's Bat's liabilities too. So here there's a Joker card which says, "Thank you, you made my day." Right? So now he wants to pick up the challenge, and the biggest challenge which he wants to pick up is, of course, Batman. Right? Goes on a spree of crimes without any rationale, just to throw lives into chaos. That's the only thing which he did after that. While Batman wanted to now start figuring out who this villain is, because till now there's no clues, but this is getting to him. And then he started chasing more criminals to find out any open leads, and then in parallel their romance takes off with him and I think Lara, yeah, that's her name if I'm not wrong. But anyways, Alfred builds him a supercomputer which finally figures out where he's going to strike next. Lorna, sorry, that's her name, Lorna. So that's exactly the place Joker is going to strike next, which is where Lorna is. So now there is a clash of two stories. Then this is a beautiful artwork by Floyd. This is Crime's new face. You could just see it more closely. So this time Bat is finally ready to catch up with him. Unfortunately, the person who he puts on a gun's end is Lorna herself, and he viciously stabs her, which is not something Batman had anticipated, and leaves him in tatters, and he takes revenge by cutting Joker's face. Now we know where the laugh has come from, right? So this answers some of the questions which even the Killing Joke origin story never answered. So that way I think it's really good. But I don't want to ruin too much of fun for you guys. This is a beautiful panel in which Joker starts enjoying his cuts on his face, which shows more of his teeth, right? The artwork in this is quite brilliant and very I mean, I couldn't stop looking at it all over again after I finished reading. So this is chapter number 4, Laughing Matters, and that's the cover page for this book, right? And again, reminiscent art from the first page which you saw. So finally Lorna is on a deathbed, and that's when Batman decides that this guy just has to go. This one guy whom he can't stop or put him in jail, so he hands them over to a set of mobsters to handle and finish him off, right? And that in this book it tells us the biggest mistake he makes. So now we go to the usual origin that we all know about, how he was washed away in the toxic chemicals that led to his origin of the actual Joker as we know him today. That's shown brilliantly in this two-page panel. That's him right there. I'm just bringing you a closer look. Right. So some of this artwork in this next 2-3 pages is quite something like it takes your breath away, right? I would simply keep this book just for the artwork. Of course, the story is also equally brilliant. Chapter 5, that is This Apparition Come, right? And that's when the new face of the Joker gets revealed to the Gotham City. So I don't want to lead on to you to where it ends, but just wanted to touch upon where it begins with the Joker and Batman. And the final one, chapter 6, is Punchline. You could see the artwork here. So Joker then finally becomes a taunt for Batman, for him to catch him, and he even tempts Batman to kill him, which obviously we saw very clearly in the Dark Knight, which was quite brilliant, quite one of the most brilliant movies from the superhero genre. Even the new movie from Joaquin Phoenix was also quite brilliant, although it explores most of the mind, how it works for the Joker. So if you're a Joker fan, definitely do watch that movie. Right, so that's how it ends. Finally, obviously, Joker is behind bars, and Batman had to take a call that he won't kill this guy again. Right, no covers, but again, there is one more panel in which he's again on top of the water tank, and now he looks at Gotham. When he began, he looked at Gotham and he thought the Gotham was quiet. Now he feel it's in a very airy silence, which can break out, and another psychotic villain can emerge from the shadows. Obviously, this also throughout Arkham Asylum, and they call Joker being the first inmate of this asylum, which is quite brilliant. Right, so that's where we are. I don't know if there is anything more to talk about it, but definitely a must-pick book if you guys love Joker and the character. It's a brilliant story, and that's a book for for collectors alike. Thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Take care. Bye bye.